Hello, everyone. I wanted to send out this video describing the course, talking a little bit about what we'll be reading for the course and what the requirements are. Because I really dislike spending the first day reviewing the syllabus. It just kills me. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to rely upon you to explore the Canvas site to figure out what the course is about and watch this video, and you'll have an idea of what we'll be doing and what the requirements are, instead of just having a dull day on the first day, reviewing this sort of stuff. We're going to just start watching this film, Koyaanisqatsi, which will be our first and second classes. We'll just be viewing the film. And then, as you'll see, there's the regular in-class essay after we finish a work on Friday. So nothing to do the first 2 days except watch this film, Koyaanisqatsi. And I won't say anything else about it. Well, maybe I will later. So this is intellectual heritage. It used to be considered a sequence course. There's IH1 or IH51 and IH2 or IH52. I don't know if they really do that anymore. If you want to have a sense of my idea of what IH is about, read the course description in the syllabus on the Canvas site. I think that trying to explain what IH is now is a very difficult thing. It's better to give a student an idea of its history. And I try to just give a very small history of the course and then try to say what we'll be doing. So read that, and if you have questions or comments, please, maybe we'll talk about it in class. We have plenty of time to talk. Okay, so take a look at what we'll be reading. I mean, IH is a combination of texts that the teacher has to teach, required text, which is fine, that's good, and then texts that they can add. The required texts here are Octavia Butler's The Parable of the Sower, the Epic of Gilgamesh, and the Tao Te Ching. There's one more text, The Collected Schizophrenia is a collection of essays, contemporary work, which you'll be doing some online work on, not in class work. Those are the four required texts, and then everything else is stuff that I've added. Poems by Yeats and Arnold, the trilogy, ancient Greek plays by Aeschylus called the Oresteia, the Carmina Burana, and the Mort d'Arthur, which isn't up here yet, Death of Arthur, and then a viewing of another film. If we look at the course schedule, you get a full idea of what we're reading, beginning with Koyaanisqatsi, then reading Octavia Butler's Parable of the Sower, then some poetry, very classic poetry by William Butler Yeats and Matthew Arnold, then the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is an ancient, very ancient Sumerian text, written in, I believe, Akkadian, which is one of those languages that were rediscovered in the 19th century. And then Aeschylus's trilogy of plays about the murder of the Greek hero Agamemnon and its aftermath. The Agamemnon, the libation bearers, and the Eumenides, which are all related. The medieval poetry, which was turned into a piece of classical music in the 20th century, the Carmina Burana. Then the Mort d'Arthur selections from The Death of Arthur. It's the tales of King Arthur and his knights. And then finally we'll watch Excalibur, which is a movie from 1980 or so, which is a great version of the Arthur story. And then we'll end by reading the Tao Te Ching, the great classical Chinese work of philosophy and who knows what. So what is the course about? Well, I mean, the course is about reading texts together and talking about them. That's what the course is about. So really the only question is, why are we reading the books that we're reading, and how are they meant to fit together? We'll put that question aside for the moment. I mean, as a teacher, I'm faced with a set of 4 texts that are required, and then I think of texts that I want to read with them. And sometimes it's because I think that there's things that sort of go with the text. Like I think Koyaanisqatsi, the film, goes very closely with the parable of the sower. And sometimes I just add things because I think some way or other they're commentary on the text. I mean, finding themes and finding associations and commonalities and contrasts, that's your work as a student, really. To find those things in your work, which you certainly will, believe me, you'll find them. And you know, you will write about them. So, what the course is about, what it's meant to do, what the outcome is, those are things that we will talk about extensively along the way of the course. So, let's get to what you need to do in the course. If you look on the Canvas site, there, of course, is a syllabus and a course schedule, which tells you what we'll read every day. And then there are the requirements. The first is attendance. It's an important part of your grade. In a class that meets 3 times a week over the course of the whole semester, I think that missing 3 classes is no big deal at all. And so the limit of the number of classes that you can miss before it begins to affect your grade is 3. Just keep that in mind. It's a little more complicated than that, but just keep in mind that you do not want to miss more than 3 classes for any reason. And keep this in mind too. After those 3 classes, there'll be a subtraction of 1 point from your final grade. And students who miss more than 9 classes should just withdraw, because you can't miss more than 3 weeks of class and expect to pass a class. It just doesn't happen. So if for any reason you forecast that you're going to be missing more than 3 weeks of class, just drop the class, because it's unreasonable to ask your teacher to overlook three weeks of absences. So attendance is important. I will take attendance at the beginning of every class. Class participation is just something you're expected to participate in class discussion and to talk in class. And one of my jobs as a teacher is to try to create an atmosphere where as many people as possible feel comfortable talking in class and motivated, I hope, by their interest in the material that we'll be reading and viewing and listening to. So it is not like I'm going to be, oh, you have to talk now. I mean, I just hope that you feel this is a conversational class. I will not be lecturing. I don't believe in that, especially for IH. You don't lecture. Once in a while, a teacher may explain something at length, but a teacher's a discussion leader in a class like IH. And to that end, no use of any electronic devices will be allowed during class. No laptops, especially no cell phones, man, during class. I mean, if the idea is that we're all getting together and having a conversation about something that we've read in common, and that takes you being there. So, no, I mean, if you're just using your cell phone or your laptop, or you're doing work for another class, or you're just zoning out on the internet or whatever it is, you're just showing you don't care about the course, and you're showing disrespect not only to the teacher but especially to your fellow students, because you obviously don't care what they have to say. So it's just a bad thing in general. So yeah, no electronic devices in the class. I mean, it's not like I'll be calling you out in class, but if I see that you're doing it, I'll mention it, and I'll mention it once. And if you keep on doing it, I'm going to ask you to leave the class. I mean, it's just one of the rules of the class, is that for these 45, 50 minutes, you are there with these other people discussing this stuff. In class essays, after we read a work or a related group of works, we will have a day where we write an in-class essay on that book. These in-class essays should be between 250 and 500 words. I'll put that in there. I will give you a prompt. I'll ask a very general question about the book we just read, and you, just with your mind and your knowledge, without reference to text or anything else, will write an in-class essay. It will be a graded essay. Look to see what I'm looking for is people who have ideas about the text, and to have an idea about the text means that you have to be familiar with it, first of all. And then you have to have stuff to say. So you should be thinking about these books and these films and these works of music as we read. So that'll be 10 times during the course of the semester. We'll have a day that's devoted to in-class essays. And the idea is that you've got 45 minutes to write an essay of about 500 words, so you should use the whole time. Discussion boards. If you look on the Canvas site, you'll see that there's a discussion board for each reading. These need to be done the night before the day we're scheduled to talk about the reading. So the previous night by midnight is the deadline, and the discussion board will close at midnight, which is the due date for the assignment. I would say a paragraph or so of commentary, like an idea. Give me an idea, because what I'll be doing is creating a PowerPoint from student work to help guide our discussion, to stimulate discussion, to get us talking about something. Oh, if I see something interesting on the discussion board, I will put it into the PowerPoint and ask the student about it. Now, I hope that everyone feels comfortable with that. If you don't, just tell me not to put your work in a PowerPoint. Just tell me, and that's fine. I won't do it. But I would encourage you to do it. All I'm doing is saying, hey, this was interesting. This was good. Tell us more. I would never, ever put up work that I didn't think was good. So it's you should never, ever feel embarrassed by it. It's a compliment, really. So the discussion board, you need to make a comment, a substantive comment, at least a paragraph, something about the reading that you thought. And then you have to reply to at least one other student post. So you do need to post at least twice to get full credit for a discussion board. Reading exams. We will start every class, every single class, with an in-class reading exam, 5 to 10 minutes. And it'll be a reading knowledge quiz on the assigned reading. I'll ask a few questions that I think are reasonable, maybe some specific questions about the reading, and maybe some more open-ended questions about the reading. And you'll answer them. Again, this will be really quick, 5 to 10 minutes, depending on the kind of questions I've asked. So you need to get there in the beginning of class to do it. If you're late, more than about a minute late, you're not going to have time to do it. So to get full credit, you do not need to be perfect. You just have to convince me that you're familiar with the reading and ready for class discussions. So that is the kind of thing where it will be graded 1 point or less. 1 point would be full credit. Half point would be half credit. 0 would be I don't think you did the reading. You got nothing. Of course, if you miss class, you won't be able to take it. So since there's 3 absences are allowed, the first 3 zeros for these things at the end of the semester I'll excuse to harmonize with the attendance policy. So yeah, reading exams, they're a way to keep students honest, and they're a way to stimulate discussion along with the discussion boards. There will be a final exam for this course. It'll be a reading knowledge exam. I'll ask questions about everything we've read or looked at for the course, and the essay will be the exam will be a mix of short answer questions meant to ensure you have a firm reading knowledge of the text, and essay questions that are more open-ended. So there will be a final exam for the course. You just need to be familiar with the material to do well in the final exam. Finally, there is a final essay, 4-page essay, and we'll talk more about it. But the 4-page essay is really kind of a course evaluation. I'll ask you to assess the books and the course as a whole. What did we read for the course? How did it fit together or not fit together? Were there any interesting themes that emerged for you? Things like that. So it's entirely an opinion essay, commentary on the class, and really a commentary not on me, because I'm not important. And if you want to do that, you can just respond to the student evaluations at the end. It's really an evaluation of the course. What was the course about? What did we read? Was there anything interesting? Was it worthwhile? If not, why not? If so, why? That sort of thing. So those are the requirements for the course. I hope that's clear. If you have any questions, Please feel free to ask in class or to email me or call me. I have my cell phone on the syllabus. And just remember, okay, as we get started, there is, beginning with the parable of the sower next week, September 2nd. There's no assignments for Koyaanisqatsi, but there is an in-class essay on Friday, 29th. So you just have to watch it, and I'll ask you a question about it, open-ended question about it, and you'll write an essay about it. But then beginning next week, I guess after Labor Day, September 3rd is when we'll talk about the first parable of the sower reading. So the first discussion board will be due the night before, September 2nd by midnight again. If you have any questions about any of this, please feel free to call me, to email me. Don't contact me through the Canvas site because I don't get those. I don't look for those. Just email me directly at my temple email or call me on my cell phone.